What's up, everybody? I'm back, round two. So I'm using this video because I'm an orator, I'm a speaker, and I haven't really started speaking to people yet. But it's my life path, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and I definitely have the knowledge, and I know how to speak. So this is my attempt to get comfortable in front of a camera and to get comfortable in front of a potential audience. So yeah, today's topic is, it's going to be a short one. If you saw my first video, it was a long one. So I had to introduce the world to me, and I'm a great individual. I have a large personality and a lot of experiences in many different lifetimes that I'm conveying through these short, brief moments with me. So bear with me. So today's video is going to be about how to know if he's the one. How you know when you got a good man. How you know if to take this person serious. The signs that are there when it's right. Because, we get a lot of people playing around. And I think this will eliminate some of that. The reason why men play around is, they don't know. They don't know she's the one or he's the one. They also don't know if they ready. So this going to be some signs that I'm going to tell you when it's ready. The first thing we're going to talk about is when you first meet somebody, if you was in tune, if you where you supposed to be in your life, if you done your proper meditative work and have grounded yourself and been, peaceful and in a good place, your intuition should be strong enough to tell both of y'all that y'all right for each other. When it comes to relationships, believe it or not, it needs to align in the stars. It's all about the stars. Everything with a relationship is about bringing two life paths together as one. Period. If it ain't conditioned for in the stars, it is not gonna work. Sorry to tell you. Now that don't mean go get an Indian astrology book or a African one or a Euro astrology book. That means that it's really to figure out compatibility and balance. Let's just say it that way. There is certain astrology books you can get, but and some astrology info, a reading, a diviner could tell you, but I'm not talking about that here per se. I'm really just using it to talk about compatibility and balance. So the first way you can tell when this person is the one is when y'all just let y'all guards down. That you present, you lose the presentation with the person. You get so comfortable with each other that you guys start doing stuff that you would never do or you never did before, and you happy about it, even if it's stuff that you hate to do. I'll give you an example. I was with a lover before, and he used to be a professional dancer and a stripper, and he used to do like choreography, all types of shit. And me, I'm not a dancer. My rhythm is a little off and my coordination is off. It's just one of them things about me. So I usually don't dance that much. And when I was with them, we used to sit in the house. I spent a lot of time at home or outside in nature. We used to spend a lot of time together at home because we both was pretty to ourselves people. We didn't keep a lot of people around us or nothing. And when we used to be together, we used to put on music. We would just fucking dance like we was fucking breakdancing for money or something, like against each other. And it would be so weird and so funny and so sexy at the same time. But it was outside of both of our characters to do it with a lover. And to say that is a prime example of a way you know when it's meant to be, when it's right. Another way you know is when that person start doing stuff for you that just amaze you. The littlest things. I swear, that same person that I'm talking about, I cook. I can throw down. He didn't. But he was a hell of a fucking cleaner. And he was a hell of a food prep. Prepping your food and putting love into your food and doing stuff with love is just as important as to how the food tastes. It's what gives it energy and life force and make it taste so good. So, you know, that was his way of doing for me and compensating in a way that, you know, he didn't cook. So he helped out and was still amazing at every little thing he did. He was also a great decorator. It's like using your strengths to wow people on a daily basis. I'm talking about every day I would come home. Every day I would come home from work or the gym or whatever, and I would just be amazed at something in my house. From something that he did. And it was just like the most littlest things. I remember he turned my house into a romantic restaurant one day with like some fucking cups and plates and shit. And it just like, he took and put a candle in a glass in a way that only an interior decorator would do, per se. And this shit looked so sexy in my bedroom, in my living room. And it just transformed my whole space. He switched out the sheets and all the couch covering and made it red. And it just was like I was in a hotel in my own house. Those little things, doing that shit on a daily basis to wow person, is how you know when it's right. It's how you know when you got a fucking keeper, to say the least. And I'm talking about even, you know, we even having this discussion because if you would know when it's right or when it's wrong from the beginning, that would eliminate a whole lot of bullshit. It would eliminate a lot of, you know, wasted time, wasted dates, wasted sex with people that you ain't gonna be with, you know, sex with somebody that's gonna fool you or trick you or whatever the case may be. It would eliminate all that shit as if you know when it's right, even before you fucking meet. I can fucking sense just all types of shit. My intuition is really strong. I have a lot of dreams about people. Every person I've ever been with, I had dreams about. If I lay in the bed with you, I'm gonna have a dream about you. I may not tell you the dream, but I'm gonna have a dream about you. I had a dream when one of my relationships was over, and I saw them with the next person, and I saw them, you know, like being with someone else, and you know, I knew what different things meant and the signs, and you just like pay attention. And this is what this is to do. It's designed to get you aligned. How do you know when it's not right? Use your intuition. Biggest thing. If you get weird feelings, if you get weird dreams, if people is telling you stuff, pay a fucking attention. Some other shit. If you start noticing compatibility issues, out of balance things, or you just not happy, never stay in a relationship where you're not happy. Never stay in a relationship that all your needs is not being met. That shit doesn't work. You know, here in America, in the US, with the popularity of fucking reality shows and everybody putting on for the media and for TV, we get a lot of couples that we see that's not real. You could choose that life of being with someone just to be with them, someone who's not really meant for you, where y'all really just friends or y'all really just acting. But my black ass don't deal. You know, I want true love. I want to fucking feel like I'm happy as fuck. I want to, you know, have the best sex in my motherfucking life, and I want to be thrilled and have new adventures every motherfucking day if possible. And that means that, you know, you shouldn't deal with some shit that ain't all the way right. There's no such thing as he's trying or he's good enough or he's, you know, doing the best he can. That doesn't work. That's not right. If it's not all the way right 1,000%, then it's not right at all. And that's the truth. Sorry to tell some people. The next part of this video, I wanted to talk about why we are two-spirited and being happy that you're two-spirited. So, this message is more so for, you know, the people that's watching this that's not comfortable with, you know, the fact that they get down or that's DL, whatever the case may be. I'm actually a supporter for you. Like, to me, this shit is your business. The world does not need to know it. Unless you really choose to. And if you did choose to tell somebody about you getting down or you messing with dudes or you being a two-spirited man, never do it for somebody else. Always do it for yourself. If you're in a relationship or a situation where somebody is pressuring you to come out for them or just so they could feel good or look good, never do that. It's not worth it. Now, the reason why I wanted to discuss that is because in my interlude video, I briefly discussed, the severity for an irreverence of being two-spirited spiritually. But I want to go further into that. I got a friend who's I'm Native American. My family is from the Iroquois tribe of upstate New York, and I'm Black and Irish mixed. So I have a friend. I work with my tribes too. I go to the Sundances in South Dakota, and since I connected with my tribes and working with my ancestors and dealing with my Native American family unit, it has made my life better so much. But I say that because spiritually, Native Americans have and have always had a tremendous reverence for two-spirited gay men. It's traditional and custom in their way of life to revere two-spirited men. Some of the most powerful people in Native American culture, some of the most powerful medicine men, chiefs, leaders, have been two-spirited. And they understand the power of your gift of duality like no other. And they understand how to harness it and how to focus in on it and how to nurture those gifts specifically. I have a friend who's a very good friend of mine. I have a friend that's a medicine man, and I have his nephew, whom is like his apprentice, per se. He's my friend. When I first met him, we were so cool. He walks in his heart. He's like a straight man with the heart of a two-spirit person. He was raised by women, so he has a lot of feminine energy, and it's fucking beautiful, to say the least. Like, everything he does is beautiful. He puts all of that energy into his art, into his life, into everyone that he deals with, his friends, his lovers, everything. So, when I first met him, and we had this discussion about me being two-spirited, and he was mind blown, but he treated me like I was holy, literally holy, like I was a god. He expressed to me and let me know that, it's nothing wrong with being two-spirited. In fact, you should be revered. We revere you guys. You guys, help our families and help lead the world when it was a tribal system. And that's passed down to all of them nowadays. They know that we are the keepers of this universe, literally. So being ashamed of being gay or two-spirited, never that. I guess this info is to help you be a little bit more comfortable with it within yourself. It's not necessarily to tell you, oh, you need to come out. I don't give a fuck about that shit personally. Like I said in my last video, everybody in the media or who's doing all of this come out shit is promoting it for gay sex purposes. Anytime you see, two men on TV, it's for them having sex or being in a relationship. You never see men in positions in the media, gay men, in their spiritual light, like what I'm talking about now. You never see them as the priest and being honored. You never see them as the leader of the world or being a healer or whatever the case may be. You did see it actually in True Blood with the Dominican or the Mexican Santero dude, but he was having sex on camera too, so I guess that don't really count. That's my point to saying this. The next point is so historically, since the beginning of time, the world was run by two-spirited people. We have two-spirited, meaning duality and being and having access to all the spiritual gates in the world. So how the spirit world is built around the regular world is that there's multiple dimensions. The science proves this now. You can look that up. I'm not making any of this up. I don't have a reason to personally. And it's not. You can't fault me for knowing something that you don't know yet. Your ignorance is your ignorance. But after hearing this video, you can't say you're ignorant no more. All you can do is look up the research for yourself. Because all these terms, you can go look them up and find books and, you know, connect to these ways, connect to these things in your own ways from now on. So in Native American culture, I have this book. You can look this up. It's called John Lane Did. He was a famous medicine man. He talks about in their culture, they go to what they call a winkte, which is a transsexual. The difference, this book was written in like the 60s though, or maybe even before that. The difference between then and now is that they, in Native American society, a two-spirited transsexual winkte wouldn't actually change their body parts. And they would still honor the fact that they are a man too. That's the only difference in this society. This society is mirroring the society of Atlantis a whole lot. I don't know, most people don't really know that Atlantis really existed, even though it's just a quote-unquote mythology in our time today, but it actually did really exist, and there are people who have recollections of it, there are books about it, people who channel quality info of it, and if you work with your spirits, it'll come up from time to time. And from what I know of Atlantis, they were doing a lot of modifying things. It's quite ironic how time circles and history reinvents itself. Our time that we live in right now is mirroring other societies before. But it's taken on a path of when all the other societies were destroyed. So in Atlantis, they were doing a lot of gene splicing. They were modifying things. Everything was GMO, including people and animals. And they were modifying them for sexual purposes. And supposedly, that is the reason why Atlantis was destroyed by Mother Earth herself. And today, you have two-spirited men who change their sexual body parts over to become a one-spirited woman and ignore the fact that they're both, which you just can't do. You can do it physically, but you can never do it spiritually. So spiritually, they're never satisfying a part of themselves by trying to convey to the world something that they're not, which is all a one-spirit woman, and not the fact that they're a two-spirited man and woman who feels more comfortable on his feminine side. I know it's kind of confusing, but just follow along with me. I say that to say because in the book, John Lane Did writes that you go see a winkte, which is a transsexual, to get a secret name for a baby. And this name, by the baby having this name, it'll make their lives 1,000 times more better. They'll avoid pitfalls, obstacles. They'll always have good luck. They'll avoid challenges. And the name is super powerful, and only a transsexual can give them that. Most of these fucking trannies today don't even know they have this fucking power. They know nothing of it because nobody is in tune spiritually. Everybody's being programmed by the media, by this government, by this world today to be Eurocentrized essentially and completely abandon who the fuck they are. If you got any ounce of motherfucking color, let me tell you something. You got a whole spiritual system behind you. You got spirits that's walking with you that you don't even know. People you got entities that are being ignored because you stuck in what massa and white people programmed you to be today. So one day you may want to investigate that and figure out how you can appease your own ancestors. I live my life according to the way my ancestors instructed me personally. so that, you know, my life is smooth. And unfortunately, and I think some people do get a choice whether they need to honor their ancestors or not. And mine is not that. Like, I have to, you know, like, set my ancestors free. That's my path. I came here to lead, and that's what I'm doing. So back on topic about the two-spirited, what is our purpose? In the Dogon culture of Africa, it's a traditional African culture. It's the only, it's so beautiful because you get us, our black people and our Africans, who hate homosexuality, but quote unquote, but they don't realize that it has existed even in Africa for thousands of years. In the Dogon culture in Africa, the gatekeepers, G-A-Y-T-E keepers, it's a position that they have that only two-spirited gay men can have. And what it makes them become the chief diviners in African culture. And they hold the highest roles in the society. They're the leaders, they're the chiefs. They run everything for the tribe. And why they're called gatekeepers is because we are the only ones who have access to higher dimensions while in the flesh, because we have both masculine and feminine. See, men, heterosexual males, come to this world to study women. That's why love is so important. And heterosexual females come to this world to study men. It's like looking at yourself, because we all live multiple lives. So everyone, whether you straight, gay, whatever, has lived a life at some point, I'm sure, as a man and as a woman. You learn the most from looking within or looking without, essentially. Two-spirited people are the only ones who have a walking recollection of both, who have access to what it's like to be both a man and a woman right now. And with that gift, they also are the only ones with access to spiritually go within and connect to the quote-unquote heavens and the ancestors and the spirits in a higher way now. Because there are many levels to this shit, for real. It's levels to this shit. No bullshit. So, the purpose of being two-spirited is fucking phenomenal. And, you know, I think this is a topic you should research for yourself. I got a whole fucking report on this shit sitting in my phone. I always keep it in case I come across somebody who got something slick to say. Because I'm not that nigga. And I love to fucking win a debate, personally, based on truth, and provide some true shit that people never know. So if I'm in the fucking presence of somebody talking some shit about homos, I let them know, look, there's homos and then there's two-spirits. And two-spirits are fucking holy. And this is why. And I encourage you to do your own research. You could look up the Native American Two-Spirit Society. There's a brother by the name of Ra Sima Ba on YouTube who talks about, you know, so much dealing with two-spirit. The man is amazing. I never ever seen somebody say the type of info and the way he says it to people. And he's a priest and of the Ifa tradition and an Egyptian priest at the same time. Talking about being a fucking gatekeeper. He's at the helms of two of the most powerful spiritual traditions ever. And then there's a name, one of the lectures, the black lectures that I follow, Brother Panic. He used to be a producer for Public Enemy. And he's a super, super duper connected, very powerful, very smart black metaphysician. He breaks down this world that we live in. He goes into the spiritual realms and brings back info. He's a channeler. And basically anything, some of the most important life questions that, you know, average people have can be answered by just going to YouTube, typing in their name, and looking at the different lectures that they do and listening to them. and they'll give you books to read, and you'll be able to learn about the true world, the true structure of the universe that you live in, that without all the lies, and they decode everything. So it's worth checking out too. Just put in BROPANIC, Brother Panic. He actually, his most recent lecture was on the metaphysics of hip hop, because he was one of the people who founded hip hop when it was in its positive stage. And at the end of the lecture, he talks about an experience with his gay cousin who passed away from AIDS. And in this, he's the only black speaker who's straight, who I've ever heard lend credence to everything I just said to you. Lend credence that we are the gods, that we have access to the gates. Now, I've heard plenty of, medicine men and holy men and two-spirited people say it, but this is the only black, lecturer who is pro-black and pro-everything to come out and say, you know what? Those two-spirited people, those gay people, they do have a hell of a high purpose, and we've been wrong about it the whole time. So I encourage you to look up his last lecture. He went in on it for about an hour, and people was fucking mind blown about that shit. And then look at all his other ones. Some other speakers you could look up if you just want to be educated on, this world that we live in, on some truth, whether it be politics, spiritual things, health topics. Is Brother Bobby Hemmett, Brother Phil Valentine, Brother Umar Johnson, and again, that Ra Semabadu, R-A space S-E-M-A space B-A. Now, they all have no one's perfect, but all of these people, the great thing about them is they'll tell you a bunch of shit, and they'll be saying, you can get it from this book. And they all put out book lists, so you can go do the research for yourself. Now, I was going to say that none of them are perfect. A few of them hate homos. But when they speak about homos, what you need to know is that they're speaking about typical faggots, people who are endowed in this American Eurocentrized way of life. People who don't know, people who are not spiritual, people who only here for sexual purposes, sexual needs, and material things. They never speak of a spiritual gay man, because most of them don't know what that is. And it's my job to bring it to the world's light, or to, the leaders' light, so that they know what time it is, that somebody like me is here to let people know, like, it's a whole nother way to look at this shit. Thank you.